It's the year of the snake, and I can't think of a better way to celebrate it than by taking a look at the serpent goddess herself. Hello everyone, Sobroni of GNA Reviews here, bringing you a spotlight for the servant who is forever locked in a battle with the other Mesoamerican snake goddess for the title of Ultimate Onesan, Kukulkan. We'll be examining her stats and skills, as well as going over pointers that how to utilize her effectively, and an overall grade comparing her to how she stacks up to the other 5-star servants. So if you're ready to go full buster mode, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and ring my bell so you can catch all of these spotlight videos as they go up, and you can help out the channel. And now, on the Kuku stats. Kuku has a max HP of 13,365 and a max attack of 12,584. Kuku has the second lowest HP stat among all 5-star foreigners, but makes up for it by having the highest attack. Similarly, she has slightly below average HP for an SSR servant, but very high attack. When it comes to her command cards, Kuku has 4 hits on her quick, 3 hits on her arts, 3 hits on her buster, and 5 hits on her extra card. She has an NP gain rate of 0.78% and a star rate of 15%. Both Kuku's NP gain and star generating are below average due to her heavy buster focused deck. Kuku's stat spread is heavily offensive with very little in the way of HP and utility. Taking a look at her skills, Kuku's first skill is Charisma of the Jade, rank A+. This skill increases the party's attack for 3 turns, between 10 and 20%. It also increases the party's critical chance resistance for 3 turns, between 20 and 30%, and increases Kuku's own attack for 3 turns, between 20 and 30% if you choose to pay 10 crit stars. All of these effects depending on level. Her second skill is We Are the Winged Serpent, rank EX. This skill charges one ally's NP gauge between 30 and 50%, and if you pay 10 crit stars, it will also grant that ally 2 hits of evasion for 3 turns, and grant them sure hit for 3 turns as well. And finally, Kuku's last skill is Golden Sea of Trees, Travelogue, rank EX. This skill grants her 1 turn of invincibility, increases her buster card effectiveness for 3 turns between 20 and 30%, increases her crit damage for 3 turns between 30 and 50%, and if you choose to pay 10 crit stars, it will also increase Kuku's own NP damage for 3 turns between 20 and 30%. All of these effects depending on level. As for her passives, Kuku has Civilization Creation, rank EX, which increases the party's debuff success rate by 8%, and she has which converts her own invincibility status to anti-purge defense, generates 10 crit stars every turn, and charges her own NP gauge by 3% each turn. Moving on to her deck and Noble Phantasm, Kuku has a pure Buster deck with Quick Arts Buster 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 and a Buster Noble Phantasm. Her Noble Phantasm is Kinich Ahau Impact, which is an AoE Buster attack that deals damage to all enemies with a damage modifier between 300 and 500% depending on NP level. It also deals an additional 50% extra damage to threat to humanity enemies, and skill seals all enemies for 1 turn. This Noble Phantasm will also generate 30 crit stars and deal additional damage against Earth attribute enemies depending on overcharge. Because she's a foreigner, Kuku doesn't require any monuments or skill gems for her ascensions. However, she does have a hefty appetite for gold mats. For level ascension, Kuku is going to need 10 each of Dragon Fangs, Yggdrasil Seeds, Phoenix Plumes, Spirit Roots, Snake Jewels, Fruit of Longevity, Dragon Scales, and Sun Scales. While for her skills, she's going to need 10 Dragon Fangs, 10 Phoenix Plumes, 12 Snake Jewels, 12 Chaos Talons, 12 Lanugos, 15 Reverse Dragon Scales, 15 Godly Wines, and 15 Sun Scales per skill. Kuku is what we in the business politely refer to as a Buster Gorilla. I believe that's the technical term, but I'll need to double check with Lasangle on that. Either way, just as you would expect of a serpent goddess, Kuku is all about flexing her power. Her stats are heavily offensively tilted, with her attack stat being the highest among all foreigner servants, even to this day in JP. She does have a small trade-off for this by having a little below average HP and somewhat mediocre star generating and NP gain, but she more than makes up for that by having one of the most busted passives known to man. It converts all invincibility effects on Kuku into anti-purge defense, aka the same ultra invincibility that Castoria gives with her NP. This type of invincibility cannot be countered by Invincibility Pierce, and Kuku just gets it for free whenever she or someone else on the team casts invincibility on her. And that's not all, she also gains a free 10 crit stars every turn, as well as a free 3% NP charge, all from the same passive. So that whole thing about having low star generating, doesn't really matter. Considering that she has a free Maximum Broken 2030 as just a passive. All this and we still haven't even touched on her actual skills yet, so let's get to that. Kuku's first skill, Charisma of the Jade, is a charisma that also increases the party's crit chance resistance by 30%. And if you choose, you can pay an extra 10 crit stars to have it further increase Kuku's attack by 30%. Paying with crit stars to power up her skills is a constant theme that you're going to see across all of Kuku's skills. And as far as gimmicks go, this is a really good one. It gives Kuku tremendous flexibility and makes it feel like she has 6 skills instead of 3. As for the skill itself, it effectively gives Kuku a 3-turn 50% attack buff if you choose to pay those 10 crit stars, which is obviously insanely strong and well above the average rate, especially for farming. Without paying the stars though, this skill is basically just a charisma with a really niche crit resist effect added to it. Kuku's second skill, We Are the Winged Serpent, is a targetable 50% NP battery with a conditional buff of granting an ally 2 hits of evasion and sure hit if you decide to pay the 10 crit stars. 50% NP charge skills are pretty much mandatory for top tier farmers, and Kuku is no exception. This is the skill that's going to enable her to 3-turn farm so consistently, so needless to say, you almost always want Kuku to target herself with this skill. The additional evasion and sure hit can be nice in some challenge quest scenarios, however, in farming setups, it's never worth paying the extra crit stars just for that buff. Finally, Kuku has one last steroid in her skill, Golden Sea of Trees. This skill grants Kuku invincibility for a turn and increases her crit damage and buster card effectiveness significantly for 3 turns. If you pay 10 crit stars, it'll also buff her NP damage by 30% for 3 turns, and this skill is massive as far as damage steroids go. For just 10 crit stars, Kuku gets insane value in raw damage stats, at a little over 60% extra damage on her NP. In contrast to the last skill, you always want to pay the star tax here for that extra buff. This skill is especially potent in farming comps since it lasts for 3 turns, so Kuku gets the full value of the buffs in every NP. It's worth noting that the invincibility will also turn into anti-purge defense thanks to her passive, so this skill also makes for a strong defensive tool as well. For skill leveling, of course, level her NP charge first, followed by Sea of Trees, and then Charisma last. For her pen skills, pick up mana loading ASAP for consistency, then skill reloading, and then extra crit damage. Kuku's Noble Phantasm is an AoE buster attack that increases her damage against threats to humanity by 50%, skill seals all enemies, generates 30 crit stars, and deals additional damage to Earth attribute enemies based on overcharge. There are very few threat to humanity enemies, however, there are a ton of Earth attribute servants, so the extra damage on Kuku's Noble Phantasm does factor in every so often. On top of that, the extra 30 crit stars does wonders for setting up Kuku for the following turn, both in terms of damage and in terms of being able to pay for the extra costs of each of her skills. And Skill Seal gives her some nice challenge quest utility as well. All in all, it's an excellent Noble Phantasm that synergizes really well with her kit. What really makes Kuku shine as a farmer though isn't her NP, it's how well her skills synergize with Konyanskaya. With Konyanskaya and Oberon ruling the current buster meta, it's important that any buster farmers synergize well with their buffs. And in Kuku's case, she has by far the best synergy with these two of any servant in the game. Konyanskaya is able to generate 20 crit stars on turn 1 using her Aptitude for Slaughter skill, and this is exactly enough to enable Kuku to pay for the extra buffs on both of her damage steroids, providing her incredible setup from turn 1. On top of that, all of Kuku's skills have a cooldown of 6 turns or less. This means that in double Konyanskaya comps, she can effectively use all of her skills twice within 3 turns. And because of the stars she generates from her Noble Phantasm, she has no issues paying the cost for the additional buffs the second time around. This translates into Kuku essentially having a 100% NP charge over the course of 3 turns, along with 100% extra attack, 60% buster card effectiveness, and 60% bonus NP damage on turn 3. And all of that is before calculating the buffs from Oberon and Konyanskaya. Suffice it to say that Kuku's biggest strength is, well, her strength. She puts up some of the highest neutral damage numbers of any servant in the game. She's even capable of hitting 1,000,000 damage per target in some team comps. Kuku is even capable of farming with Black Grail if you use some more creative teams that utilize Summer Kuro, Arash, or Chen Gong. All of this makes Kuku arguably one of the best buster farmers in the game, especially from a damage perspective, rivaling the likes of Morgan. But she isn't limited to just farming. Her strong crit damage buffs and her constant star generating also make her very capable as a crit DPS in challenge quests and story content. The additional survivability that she gains from her passive, as well as the invincibility and evasion built into her kit, gives her great survivability despite her low HP as well. Really, the only area where Kuku falls short is that she just doesn't really do anything new. If you already have Morgan or Arc, for example, she's more of a side grade rather than an upgrade. But if you are after a top-of-the-line Buster Servant and Farmer, Kuku pretty much can handle any DPS role that you need her for, and easily performs at the highest level. But while Kuku can perform any DPS role, she does work best as a farmer, and as such, she benefits tremendously from Konyanskaya and Oberon. The synergy these two have with her is off the charts, to the point where they are almost necessary if you plan on running Kuku in any relevant content. The upcoming Summer Kuro is also a fantastic farming support for Kuku, because she enables her to 3-turn farm consistently while using Black Grail. If you don't have Kuku though, Chengong can also be a substitute for free-to-play options, as he also has his ally swapping ability. Kuku's Bond CE is my first gift. It increases her NP damage by 30% and generates 20 crit stars when she enters for the first time. This isn't really all that helpful for Kuku due to the lack of stats, so instead give her CEs that pump up her NP damage and provide some NP charge, like Black Grail, Aerial Drive, Cranking, and K-Scope. For command codes, I recommend giving her crit damage command codes that work well on Buster cards, like Mistress of the Heavens. Overall, Kuku is, in my opinion, one of the best, if not the best Buster farmer we've seen in FGO. She is capable of some truly insane damage output due to her wide range of buffs, she has very strong synergy with both of the meta Buster supports, and her kit allows her to be a strong crit DPS for boss fights. That said, she doesn't revolutionize the game in any way, beyond just being good at what she does, and her class is unfortunately very weak when compared to something like an Avenger or a Berserker. But with all of that said, Kuku gets an S from me. Much like Kirei, while she may not revolutionize the meta in any way, Kuku is essentially elite at everything a DPS can do. And if you're lacking a top tier Buster Servant, she can be your one-stop shop for everything you need. But if you are fortunate enough to already have a Morgan or a Melusine or an Arc, she's by no means a must-have. And those are my thoughts on Kuku. From a gameplay perspective, she is absolutely one of my favorite servants to use, so her being a top tier beauty and a cool character is just icing on the cake. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and consider subscribing if you really enjoyed the video. Join the party over at our Discord, chill with us on Twitch, and follow us on Twitter, all linked in the description down below. And I'll see you all in the next Servant Spotlight. Soberoni out. Later.